Hi, community. Welcome to another episode of Allie's Take. I'm Coach Allie, and I'm really happy that you've decided to be with me today. And I hope that what I share with you today can be helpful for you in your recovery journey from insomnia, leaving the struggle. So, today, what I wanted to talk to you about is really a topic that we discuss a lot in the recovery journey. And what this is today is what insomnia recovery is really all about. And I'm going to give you my perspective of what that is, my humble opinion, and just know that everybody's path is their own path. And so, what I share today is really from my experience and what I've seen in helping others leave the struggle. So the first point that I want to make, and I'll have a few subpoints under these, is that recovery is really about building capacity to experience discomfort with more ease. So this term building capacity is one we tend to use quite a bit in insomnia recovery, anxiety recovery, and these kind of circles. And I want to break it down just a little bit for you and maybe talk about what I mean by that. So when we talk about building capacity, what we're really referring to is having more flexibility within our nervous system. So we can go in and out of these different protective states of our nervous system with more ease and less discomfort. So this is about widening our window of tolerance. And in nervous system language, we talk about this a lot. And a window of tolerance is really where we think about capacity, right? So I'll kind of explain it like this. When we are going through something really stressful or difficult, and we don't have a lot of flexibility within our nervous system, then things can really overwhelm us or trigger us, taking us out of our window of tolerance. And our window of tolerance might be fairly small. We might not have much capacity, right? So it's kind of a small window here. And above this window is when we get into hyper arousal, which is the fight or flight energy, that anxiety and panic and angst, all of that. And then below that window of tolerance at the bottom here is hypoarousal, which is really where we're just shut down, where we collapse. We don't have any fight remaining. We're just depressed even. This is a state of shutdown. And that's hypoarousal. So between these two states is our window of tolerance. And this is what we have capacity for. When we first come into recovery and we've been going through this experience of insomnia, we might not have very much tolerance at all. In fact, we might have only about a thimble size of capacity. Very, very, very small window of tolerance. And when we go through recovery, we learn to experience discomfort in a new way. And that is to say that we start to understand that one, all of these emotions, sensations, thoughts, feelings, although they're really uncomfortable, they are not dangerous. They are definitely not life-threatening. It's just uncomfortable. And so as we lean into the discomfort of feeling this stuff that nobody wants to feel, let's be honest, we start to teach the brain, show the brain that it's actually okay to experience discomfort and still be all right, that we don't have to resist, fight, try to escape with everything we have, that there might be another option. There might be another possibility. And that possibility is about allowing this discomfort to be there, even though we don't like it, knowing that it's safe to experience discomfort. And so as we start to do this, and we can do it a little bit at a time, because that's really the only way this works, is maybe moving just a couple of percentage points more towards the discomfort, right? So the opposite of moving towards this discomfort would be resisting it, fighting against it, actively doing whatever we're going to do to avoid that experience, right? So these are kind of our behaviors that are trying to really protect us and keep us away from the experience of discomfort. And what we are looking for, and what helps us to show the brain that it's actually safe to be uncomfortable, is to move towards the discomfort. And I know that sounds kind of scary, because the truth is no human wants to be uncomfortable. That's just perfectly natural. That's a normal human response. And so it's that is to say that, this isn't saying that saying no is bad and yes is good. What we're saying here is saying no is natural. We all come from a place where we're going to resist initially, and we're going to try to fix, manage, and control, and that's human nature. So there's a pause here when we start to understand that there might be another possibility. And this is where that yes might be possible. We might be able to actually allow ourselves to experience this discomfort without fighting, resisting, trying to control or manage. And this is what eventually leads to developing this new neural pathway, one of safety, one of okayness, right? And this is the work we're doing here. This is self-directed neuroplasticity, where we're really building this new neural network, right? So it's pretty exciting stuff. So we move from having very, very little capacity, this thimble size window of tolerance, to building up to maybe a coffee mug, right? Because we're doing this slowly, because it takes time to show the nervous system through our actions, through our behaviors, through our responses, that we're okay. It's okay to experience discomfort. It's not preferred, but it's definitely not life-threatening. And so we build it in this way. Here it's going to grow to maybe from a coffee cup to a salad bowl, right? And then it's going to expand beyond that, from a kiddie pool to a swimming pool. And then our window of tolerance gets to be more like this. It's a lot wider. And so we're not falling into hyperarousal or hypoarousal so often, because we have built some capacity. We've built this window of tolerance where we can move with more flexibility between these states. And that's really, really helpful and so, so important in our recovery process. I hope that makes some sense. We're going to move on here about kind of how we do this in really practical terms. Okay, so this is when we are really in the midst of it, right? And we're very much feeling the hyperarousal and the anxiety and the, we're kind of freaking out, which again, totally normal. And so this is when we get this opportunity to start to create and build a new neural pathway of safety, of I'm okay. And so when we're in this state where we're feeling all of this, the distorted thinking or the rumination, catastrophic thinking, the anxiety and the panic and all of this discomfort, all of the physical sensations that can come along with that, we might want to ask ourselves this question: what can I do right now to signal safety to my brain, to this scared part of my brain? And that can look so many different ways, depending on you and your path and what feels good and comforting and easeful for you. But we want to think in terms of actions and behaviors, because behaviors and actions are what create change into this neural pathway system in our brain. We can't talk our way into safety. Language, reason, logic, they do not live in this part of our brain. So it requires us to take a different response, to take a different road, so to speak, because we are really creating this new road, this new track in our brain. So what can I do right now in this experience of discomfort to signal safety to my scared brain? So thinking in terms of actions and behaviors, that can be anything that feels more easeful, that feels like the path of least resistance. Those are the kinds of things that are going to signal safety to the brain. And they can be, watching your favorite Netflix show, something that's funny and engaging. this is the kind of thing that's going to signal some safety to your brain. Like, oh, Allie seems to be okay. All right, I can turn down those alarm bells, right? So it can be any number of things, reading a book that you love. The list is really endless, but whatever it is, think in terms of a behavior and an action that will signal this safety to your brain. And I hope that's helpful. That was really helpful for me. All right. And we're going to go on to the second point. So this is number 2 of what I believe, in my opinion, is what insomnia recovery is all about. And so this point number 2 is about a freedom from fear, right? So this is a big one because how we define insomnia at the Sleep Coach School is this fear that has developed around wakefulness, that we're afraid of being awake at night. And so when we work with recovery, we're really trying to get to the root of this, and that is the fear. That is the fear that has activated this protective state of our nervous system that has now become conditioned. It's conditioned fear response, and this is why it's on this perpetual cycle, right? So when we go through recovery and we're doing this work of building capacity, and that's also dealing and working with befriending the fear, right? And so we're allowing these fears to be there. We're allowing this anxiety to be there, knowing that it's not inherently dangerous at all to feel anxious or afraid. These are normal human emotions. They will pass on their own if we don't latch onto them and make that over focus on them, right? Get so scared of being scared that then what happens is we create another neural pathway that becomes a neural loop of a conditioned response, right? So now we've gone into this fear of fear, right? And we're going to talk about this a little bit later. But what recovery really comes down to is meeting and making peace with all of our fears around sleep, right? And the list can be very long. I've shared in other videos about all of my fears around that and all the inner work that I did, to meet and make peace with those fears. So you can definitely check out some of the other videos as well. So we're going to move on here just a little bit, going to point B under our topic of freedom from fear. So what's really important to understand here as well is that fear and anxiety cannot be totally eradicated because they're normal human emotions. They're normal human feelings. And they really will come and go on their own if we don't, latch onto them and decide that they're an experience that is completely unacceptable. When we do that, when we have a feeling of fear or we feel anxious and we react with, no, I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shouldn't be feeling afraid. I shouldn't be feeling anxious. There's something wrong with me. Now the brain has detected fear and anxiety as a threat. And when that happens, we get into this part that I told you that we were going to kind of come to, is that fear of fear, that feeling anxious about being anxious, right? And so when we go through this process, we're also finding freedom from that fear of fear, that anxiety about being anxious, because when we have come into that point where we're afraid of being afraid and we're anxious about being anxious, that too creates this conditioned response, this conditioned fear response, right? So if we've told the brain, this is not an experience I am okay with, I will fight, resist, try to control every step of the way, then the brain registers that as dangerous. Okay, whenever fear and anxiety show up, then I will sound all the alarm bells, put us in a total protective state because I have reacted saying it is not okay to experience this. This is not normal. I don't want to feel this way, right? And so then we've got another circular pattern going on in the brain, right? Which is totally normal, totally human. Like we can all experience this, and we're not broken. It's really, really a common experience, and we can get out of it. And the way we do that is by what we've just been talking about. teaching the brain that it's actually safe to experience fear and anxiety and all the difficult emotions, sensations, thoughts that come when we're in having these experiences, that it is all actually safe. They cannot hurt us. And we do this slowly, right? How we talked about, by stepping towards the discomfort, leaning in, feeling that it's actually okay, it's allowed to be there, it's not dangerous. And as we actually do that, it shows the brain that, oh, I guess it is okay to feel this. It isn't dangerous. I don't have to resist with all my might. I don't have to sound all the alarm bells and put the nervous system in fight or flight to prepare for imminent danger, because it's not actually dangerous. So I hope that makes sense. It's just so very fascinating and cool to me. I love this so much. Okay. Our third point here to conclude today is recovery is ultimately about freedom. Freedom. But once you've met and made peace with all of these fears that have been, keeping you in this perpetual struggle, it is liberating. These freedoms, they just vanish, or these fears, they just vanish. And on the other side of that is freedom. And that's not to say that we're not going to experience, anxiety or fear at some point again, but we're no longer afraid of feeling fear. It's just a normal human emotion that will come and it will go. Same with anxiety, right? When we're no longer anxious about being anxious, it's just a human emotion. It will come and it will go. And we have built a new neural pathway, one of safety, one of I am okay. I can handle whatever shows up. I know it's not dangerous. I know I'll be okay. So this is really what I believe, what I have experienced in my own journey, that recovery is all about. I hope that's helpful. I really hope that you got something out of this today. I appreciate you taking the time to be here and to listen in. I have Coach Christian is going to be joining me later this month for Allie's Take, and I'm really excited about that conversation. So look for that towards the end of the month. And until then, if you find yourself needing some more support, please find us at thesleepcoachschool.com. You can join one of our wonderful programs. You can get some one-on-one support if you would like, because we're there for you and we're here to support you. We've been there, we know. You can also find me on Instagram. My handle is @SacredSleepCoach. And say hi. I'd love to meet some of the members of the community in that way as well. Take care, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Hi there, it's me, Coach Daniel. I hope you found a lot of value in the video you just watched. And if you're looking for a bit more personalized support on your insomnia recovery journey, then head over to thesleepcrystal.com. I think it is the #1 resource for insomnia sufferers worldwide. And there you will find free programs as well as paid programs with certified sleep coaches. You can join a community of people who understand what you're going through because they've gone through it themselves, or they are on this journey of leaving the struggle and arriving where they want to be, just like you, that place of peaceful sleep and peace of mind. So again, I hope the video that you just saw brought a lot of value to you. And if you're looking for a bit more personalized support on your journey, then head over to thesleepcoachschool.com. And if you decide to join, we look forward to seeing you on the other side.